ladies and gentlemen, it's good to be back. It's Dan. It's night time.
Yeah, it's a late one.
It is a late one, and I've got to admit, Dan, you are married to a Latina,
That is correct.
and your sleep schedule is a little different to mine. I will acknowledge I just can't party as hard as you.
Yeah, it's I've become accustomed to it, is what I like to
Yes.
say. Yeah.
Yeah, accustomed years.
Years in the making. It's been.
How do you go in the mornings though? When you got an early morning flight, do you just jump out of bed, or are you one of those? Ooh, Ugh.
Yeah, it takes a little bit. I guess it kind of just depends on what's gonna happen that day.
Mm,
I used to, and I still do, press snooze a lot.
you're a snoozer.
But now I've been hearing so many things about when you're in
Oh.
a deep sleep, you're not supposed to do that because it messes up your sleep thing.
Oh, so you
All
don't
these
wake up?
scientific terms. Yeah, so just keep sleeping. Just don't set an alarm.
So what you're saying is, don't set an alarm.
Yeah, might as well. Yeah,
Oh, it's anti-REM.
yeah,
It's like don't interrupt
yeah.
the REM.
Exactly.
All right. Okay. So when your boss calls you and says, "Why didn't you show up to work today?" Oh, well, it just wasn't in the right cycle. I think
So
it's
I
about-
started at noon. It's not that I didn't show up. I just started at noon.
I love that you roll in with a Starbucks, and it was a long line. So
Yeah.
I
Traffic was bad.
never understand those meetings that you're there and the colleague is 10 minutes late but rolls in
With a drink in their hand.
with a drink.
Yeah.
And you know that it would have taken 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then they blame the traffic, or they blame
Yeah, oh.
something to where it's
Oh,
like,
traffic was really bad. Traffic? No, mate, that's just Starbucks. That's your caramel macchiato. Oh my goodness. So now let's say, so I have appreciated the late night. It's something though, I can walk in a supermarket, in a shop, and I can appreciate things. Doesn't mean I am going to adopt it.
You're not going to become accustomed to it. Yeah, you can partake in it, but not consistently
Yeah,
do it.
was on a call recently, and I was talking to him about, he was caught up, catching up with a friend for a few days, and he's like, it's a shock to the system because that friend is a late night guy, and he was like, I forgot what it's like to do late nights. He's like, man, 1 a.m. You're 1 a.m.ers. It's the a.m.s. When you hit the a.m.s, and you need the REMs, not the a.m.s.
Yeah, it's what's funny is I used to be, I won't say a morning person, but it was like 5:30 a.m., 6 a.m. Like I was up ready to go for the day.
Oh, I thought you were about to say you went to bed then.
No.
Wow.
No,
Okay.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
But I will say, now that I'm getting older, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock comes around, I'm tired. Like I could close my eyes and fall asleep.
You just saying that like warms my heart. Just I feel like though, because obviously you are married to, but it's not necessarily in your blood.
Right.
And I feel as though Lily, your wife, it's in her blood. She can't change it.
No, she could stay up all night long and just nothing. No, like you wouldn't know. I mean,
Like
yeah.
consistent, just energy, enthusiasm, creativity.
Yep.
Well into the 2-3 a.m.
Oh, easy.
And it's like,
Easy.
okay.
I think it's helped. I mean, because the kids are older now and they can kind of take care of themselves in the morning.
Yeah.
So like weekends, it's like,
For that reason,
we're
alone,
sleeping in.
and that's what I use as defense to Matt. I'm like, yeah, but babe, in the morning, we're up at 6:30.
Yeah.
Like Murphy's there right next to you. Hey, good morning. It's not like we can then be like, oh, Murphy, we went to bed at 2.
Right. And
So actually, we need our 6 hours. So you've now got to wait till 8. He's there going,
there's no pause button.
I've got demands, and
Yeah.
like you've got to meet them. I'm like, no.
Nope, I'm going to keep sleeping. Good night.
Dan, this episode, it's another Danisode, and we are so appreciative of just talking rubbish, and you're still listening to us. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. If you still have play for this episode, like I appreciate you. We appreciate you
Yeah, we do.
so much.
We do, and it's the little fans that not in size. Whoopsies. I mean
Large amount of fans? No,
oh,
little amount
no,
of fans?
where I just I have trouble with that.
We do have a few little fans. I met one yesterday.
I don't even know. I'm trying now to rack my brain of English words to anyway, it's the silent encouragers, maybe
Yes.
that we know they do listen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the best when you see someone and they're like, "Oh, when you guys talked about this," and it's like,
Yeah.
"Oh my, you listened to that?"
It's so good. So I hope this episode you're already listening, going, "Oh man, I want to talk about sleep too."
And you can be, "That's me. I do that."
So we thought this episode we want to go back, and I know we've talked current trends with kids. We've had some fun. We've laughed about different words. What on earth is Riz, and why do we want Riz? And we've talked about those things. We want to go back to our childhood, and we want to talk nostalgia, and we want to talk differences, but also similarities. And when we were talking about this just before, Dan said a game which I think is like one of those things that's timeless.
Oh, it's the best.
Tag.
You can never. It doesn't matter how old you are. You will always know how to play tag because it's like the
Absolutely.
first game you've ever learned. I still play
Yep.
tag with my kids.
Boom. You're it.
And here's the thing. There's no rules. It's either you're it or you're not it. People try
Yes.
implementing base or you can't get me in here. No, it's tag. You're either it or you're not it. It's the easiest game you
Yes.
can possibly play. And it's fun. It's timeless.
I love tag.
Yeah.
And I feel like we were just playing a month or 2 months ago at a local park, and it was then a new version of tag, and well, kind of poison ball / tag. And so if you're it, then you have the ball and you've got to then hit. So rather than like chase,
Oh, I like
it
that.
helps give Murphy a little more incentive because he can throw a ball.
It's
you
like
know?
dodgeball as well. Like, is that what you said?
Mhm. Yeah.
What'd you call it?
Or, poison ball.
Poison ball.
Yes.
Okay.
So if the ball hits you, then you're
Right.
out or whatever. And so it would, there's bark chips around this playground, and so the person who's it has to be out of the bark chips and then throw the ball, and hit you. And then you have to quickly get it and race it, and then, and then all of a sudden, like it's just volume goes up, intensity goes up, swings are hitting you, but tag is one of the not kiss chasey.
No, well, I don't know what kiss chasey is, but no, that's
Well,
not it.
In Australia, we call tag chasey.
Oh,
So
that's actually I like that. Chasey.
because you chase,
But what happens when you touch them? Do you say anything? Because most kids will be like tag.
it,
Okay, so chasey, you just say it.
yeah,
It what?
Tony's it, Dan's it, and so okay, yeah,
Chasey, I like
and but then obviously the younger kids, I would like to say, not middle school age, younger in the primary. I never played it, but there's kiss chasey, and that was always like ooh, but I've never actually known like who kisses who and what.
I was
do you
gonna say,
kiss and
do you divide? Hey, here's the girl team. Here's the guy
bit of hot
team.
water.
I mean, it's not like you and your 5 buddies at lunch are being like, "Hey, you guys want to play kiss
Look
chasey?"
back on it, it's quite an unusual concept. I don't know where.
You have to be strategic in who plays that game, when you
Oh,
play
for
that game,
sure.
how you play that game, who's
Of
allowed.
course. And then if a teacher's invited,
Yeah.
but I do think though, but classic tag is there's nothing like it,
Yeah, it's
and especially if you're in like an open field and there's space to just get a good runner.
especially if you're playing with kids and you know you're faster than them.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, you always win.
Always appreciated that. And then it wasn't fun when there was a few slow kids that just.
You know they're always it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever played on a basketball court though, like line chasey or line tag? So on a multi-purpose court where there's like a few courts printed, and so you have to stay on the lines.
Oh, fun.
That's fun.
It's almost like Pac-Man. Except tag.
Great example, yes. And so like,
That sounds a lot of
you've
fun.
got like 20
Yeah.
kids staying on the lines with your class of kids, and you can't go off the line. And so someone's
that.
it, and then boom, everyone's scattered, but you can't just like run to the opposite
You
court.
have to stay on the line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So if you've got a slow person in front of you, but you can't actually
Yeah,
jump around them, yeah, that's pretty intense. So tag was one. Like I wonder about your childhood. Thinking about if you're listening, going, no, my game I used to play or even from a video game perspective, we did have the original Nintendo. It was like the grey one,
Yeah, the square
not
or
the Super
rectangle. It was
Nintendo
rectangle.
rectangle.
Yeah.
Then it had. I'm trying to work out. The controller was curvy with the Super Nintendo.
That was super, yeah.
And was that still? It was cartridge, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd still have to blow on the games
Oh yeah.
to make them work.
And it was like, I don't know how old Hugo was, but it was like only a couple of years ago was I teaching them like the technique. I have no idea if it ever worked. Like,
No, I don't think it did, but for us it did. Like
oh
every time you did it,
yeah,
it would work.
VHSs, like like a cassette or VHS.
Yeah.
What?
For dust is what we were told. We're like, well, dust gets in there, you have to blow it out.
I wonder if it was all placebo and someone who invented the VHS is like, no, it's just there's bugs in the system, but if we try and infiltrate people, it's just carried on for generations.
That would be genius if that was the case.
So I think whether it be video games, for me on the Nintendo, like OG Mario was great.
Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo, I will say,
yeah,
undefeated. I mean, I shouldn't say undefeated, but there was specific ones that you could do, like Bowser.
Yeah.
On Super Nintendo, it was the Bowser one, the Ghost one. Those two, I was like untouchable in.
Now, this is something which I think is controversial, and I'm sorry to say this, but I actually think we went back and played like an old school arcade game. And I actually did lose a bit of interest. And I caught myself, I was like, wow, because graphics have changed.
Yeah.
The pace of the game.
Way faster.
Even like I think it was original Mario Kart or something. As I was playing, I was there going, go faster. Like the
you
go
press it down
kart
harder and it doesn't go.
The go kart just didn't go fast enough, and you couldn't maneuver it like you do now. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we've come so far.
Well, think of just like on Mario Brothers, like on regular Nintendo. Like you would walk and the screen would follow you. You couldn't go any faster, you couldn't go any slower. And then you fast forward to Fortnite. I get dizzy watching them build because it is just so quick. The graphic, I mean, everything. So like to see us just barely going Paperboy. Did you ever play Paperboy on regular Nintendo?
No,
that was a fun game. Maybe that was Playboy.
Well,
nope, that wasn't what I was thinking of. Game Boy.
is it a Freudian slip? That was just a Danian slip or a Dan slip.
That was a Dan slip, for sure, yeah.
I
can't believe I said that.
That's all right.
But you played with it as a boy. That's what I mean. When you were a boy, you played Game Boy, is what I mean.
Correct.
Yeah.
I definitely think as well, the Game Boy, now the chunky one, so not the color that came. Do you know how there was a Game Boy Color?
Yes.
Then there was Game Boy 3D. I think it jumped from like color to 3D, and then then it went to Switch.
Yes.
And I think that's the progression of the Game Boys. And we had the original Game Boy, but it had like 2 games. And it was one of those like, you'd go to a friend's house and use their game.
Tetris was
one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know the other one actually, but I do remember Tetris. And I remember we were on an epic like 8-hour car ride, and that was the game we had. And now it's like our kids just could pull up an iPad and they've got 30 games and they've got all of Netflix.
I remember driving from South Dakota to Arkansas, Little Rock, Arkansas, for a swim meet. And the Game Boy, I played Tetris the entire time. Like it would die, obviously.
Wow.
But you would just put batteries back in it.
Boom.
Go back. Right. I mean, I don't know how long of a car ride that was. It felt like it was 4 days, but it was probably like 15, 16 hours. But I remember playing that nonstop.
See, that I think is missing. Just the ability to lock in such a simple game.
You just think that like you played that for that long? Like, yeah. I mean, it was
okay. I'm not an academic. Like, I'm not a PhD. I'm not that way inclined.
So you're not like me.
But but I think there's something in it. Like, I really think our generation, or other generations, being able to lock in such a simple skill and perfect it is, I think, missing
Yeah.
in this culture. Because I was trying to explain arguably one of the best cricketers, if not the best cricketer of all time, would be Don Bradman.
Don.
And
he's so close to being the
Don. Now, people argue, yeah, but look at the length of his playing career and stuff, but his average test score is the best.
Would you compare him like a Tiger Woods golf to cricket? Like, was he dominant when he played? Like, not to say longevity, but
dominant. For his career, and this is where it's un-Australian, me not knowing his average. I did for nearly most of my life. It's one of those, at a quiz night, it's the question, like, what was Don Bradman's average test score?
Can I guess on what it is? I know nothing about tests.
Yeah, please try. I think I've got a number in my head, and I'm like 80% sure.
Can I ask something before I guess? Is it a percentage, or is it?
No, so it's his average test score. So it would be like points scored in a game for a basketball player. And so one run is, in cricket, you face a ball. So the ball isn't pitched like baseball, but it gets bowled to you. It bounces, and then you hit it. And if you hit it and it hits the rope on the outside of the oval, that's 4 runs. If the ball goes over the rope, it's 6 runs. That's 4. So the umpire, that's 4, and that's 6. Okay, yeah.
So you want one of these?
Yeah. And the best was, like, in backyard cricket, as mates, like as boys, you'd hit it, you'd hit it for 6 is a phrase. Okay, so you hit it for 6. Yeah.
Does everybody do it, or just you that?
Like, you do it, but the ump would do this one, and so you would, yeah. So 6.
That was such a dumb question. Does everybody do it? Does everybody out in the field that's not even on your team?
No, because they don't want, And so 4, 6, and then you run from one wicket to the next wicket. That's 1 run. So if you hit it and there's open space and the fielders are running to collect it in, like, the outfield, Baseball Reference, and throw it in, you can, like, run there and back and get 2 runs.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So how many points did he score in a game, like average? Is that how you grade?
Yeah, the average. So across his test career, so test cricket goes for 5 days, is 1 test match.
Oh my gosh.
So his average, yeah. Have a guess.
I know.
Don Brad, this is huge.
There is a lot of points.
Hagen.
There's a lot of points scored in cricket. I'm going to say he was 93 points.
Alrighty. Now, I'm going to actually Google, because it's going to annoy me. I have a feeling it's 99.94, but I might be wrong. So let's go. Here we go. Don Bradman test average. You little beauty. You can take the boy out of Australia.
You were spot on.
You can't take the Australia. 99.94.
Wow.
As we would say in Australia, you bloody ripper.
Yeah, you bloody ripper, you. That's impressive. That's impressive. You can ask me my favorite athletes anything on stats, and I won't be able to tell you the exact.
Like, I'm not a huge stats guy, but as I say, it is, at a quiz night, that is the question. 99.
So that's like, who's the first president of the United States? Everybody should know what Donnie was scoring.
Totally. So there you have it. Don Bradman with playing cricket. I guess that is my childhood.
Yeah.
So I grew up with my next door neighbor, Joe Carnivale, the Italians next door. And, mate, once a year, they'd make the best tomato sauce, pasta sauce.
I remember you telling me that, yeah. And they would like give it to you in like jugs.
No, like when they cook it, like we think pots and pans. No. Like 44-gallon drums with like a fire at the bottom.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So like we think a packet of tomatoes. No. They crates of tomatoes, and they cousins and uncles and the street be lined with cars. Anyway, so we called it the summer series. And so like in my childhood, each year it would be the summer break, and we would then have a series of cricket. So across days, if not across the summer break, stats, graphs, figures.
That's awesome.
So I'm just like,
you cricket player, you?
I can't get over Don Bradman. Like,
Donnie.
I don't even know where to go from here.
Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna go back to tag, and when you said you implemented the ball, we play again. I mean, it's almost like dodgeball. We call it dodgeball, but it's not technically dodgeball. We go outside in our driveway, and it reminds me of the TV show American Gladiators. Did you ever see that?
Oh yeah.
To where it's like they had to go from like this wall, but they're shooting the tennis ball at them, and they'd have to go to the next one and go to the next one. So we set up like an obstacle in the driveway in the front yard to where we put like garbage cans up so they can hide behind them. They can do certain things to where, you know, they're trying to get away, but it's kind of like tag, dodgeball.
So what are you throwing at them?
Different types of ball, like soccer ball.
Nice.
Typically it's a soccer, like a smaller soccer ball that we have.
Yeah.
But we have like 3 or 4 different ones, because if I throw it and that thing's going, I don't want to chase it right then. So I'm going to go pick up the other one. And I try having boundaries in the game.
So for example, like you got to run a gauntlet. And so would it be just I's got to run the length of the driveway, and you and Emily are on either sides of the driveway?
No, so it's kind of, you can go wherever you want to go. You can hide behind certain things.
Okay, so it's not like you've got to get from A to B.
Yeah, no, there's a barrier. Like you can't go out past the yard into the street. Like, so it's not massive, but there's really no, like, you have to go here first here. You can kind of just go wherever.
That's cool.
But it just gives me an opportunity to peg the kids with a ball as well. And they love it. They want to keep playing it. So,
okay, we're jumping around. It's sport, it's nostalgia, it's childhood, it's games. The other fun game, well, you got to wonder, playgrounds back in the day compared to today are worlds apart.
Completely different.
And so, again, I must say, I'm learning the differences. Australian schools and American schools are, again, worlds apart. And so a lot of outdoor time, a lot of even learning outdoors, and our playgrounds are, you know, so I grew up with, there was like a big fort, we called it. There was a big fort and a little fort, like these wooden structures, massive slide. Like the slide was taller than a 2-story building.
Was it a fast slide?
Just a metal, you know, and it wasn't even in a tube. It was just like
open. Looking back, you're like, how did
I say it was 2 stories high? Do you know when you go back and you're like,
7 feet off the ground?
I thought that was huge, but it's actually only just 6 feet off the ground. So, mate, it's okay.
It could be 2 stories, but it could be
my original story.
It could be 7
The
feet.
thing was 2 stories high, and how did it pass the safety check? I don't.
It didn't, because they didn't have them.
It fell from there onto like that much bark chips.
Broken arm, broken leg.
Dead.
You're dead. Broken neck, you're done.
and like the epic fun you would have, but even we would have just these metal structures where it's like just metal poles and like a grid of just metal, you know, like poles. We would play on that all lunch.
Did you have...
And you'd hang upside down and you'd work out games and you'd monkey bars.
So it was almost like a jungle gym type thing. Okay. So, but was that separate from the fort? Was it like the fort was an area, the jungle gym was an area?
Yeah, big fort was over here. There was the mound, and then on the other side of the mound was then, all these metal objects and structures. And one was, again, it felt like it was, 15, 20 feet high. And it was just a grid of like metal poles. And on a 100-degree day, sun pelting down on that.
Grab that thing.
Dang. I just remember, even the slide on the big fort on a hot
that's when you said it was like metal. Oh,
and you're like, ooh.
And then you get those skin burns as well.
And my only other memory of that was then for some reason, we took our dog Gordon. We had a dog called
That's a
Gordon.
great name for a dog.
And it was a Yorkshire Terrier. The thing was pretty darn cute. And I was with my cousin Jonathan, and we were like, oh, put Gordon down the slide. And obviously Gordon doesn't like 2-story high slides. We didn't know that. Okay. We thought, oh, every dog loves slides. And we love them. They're our best friend, man's best friend, you know. And so we threw Gordon down, or slid him down slowly. And he then got to the bottom of the slide and just like latched onto big old bite onto Jonathan's hand.
He was letting Jonathan know he wasn't happy about
He didn't get rabies, so I think we're fine. No tetanus shot.
What happened to Gordon? How long did he live for?
He had a good life, for sure. I don't know what his test average is. But he had a good life. And but I it's one of those things I didn't realize when you are a kid and you learn loss. I cried. Like, it wasn't crazy attached. It wasn't just like, oh, you know, you come home and you cuddle him every night or whatever. But I remember still crying.
That's funny. Not funny. That's not funny.
Oh, thank you.
I was complete opposite. I grew up with hunting dogs, and so they weren't really like cuddly, coming like I love my dogs,
hunter gatherer.
They were just like they were hunting dogs for me. So my
Do they live in
life,
a home, or are they outdoor dogs?
they're outdoor, but
okay.
When I say this, my dad does not keep them outside, like in the outside, but they have the nicest shed that's heated, and they can come outside, and there's automatic feeders.
Your dad's a big softie.
Yeah, he's gotten softer.
Yeah.
The shed's gotten nicer over the years.
Yeah.
So when my dogs would die, when we would lose one hunting, I wouldn't really be sad.
How do you lose a dog hunting?
Well, they go off on a trail to find a raccoon, but cool story. If you don't know this, dogs have very good scent.
Yeah.
And so what my dad would do, because we would take them out hunting, and you know they'd be on the trail of the animal, and we would have to go, but they're still chasing. And so we would wait hours. So we would leave, but my dad would leave a jacket or a piece of clothing. And it happened like 2 or 3 times with separate dogs. We would come back like the next morning, and the dog would be like laying on the or just in the area. Yeah. Yeah. But I think we've lost maybe one. But again, then it's like, I'm sure some farmer found it and just took it in. And that's what we tell ourselves anyways. All that being said, I never understood when people would cry when a dog died, because I was never close to it. I'm like, you guys, it's just a dog. Like, it's not a human, it's just a dog, until we got Kaisita.
Oh, yeah.
And now when people lose like a pet, I'm like, dang, I don't want to go through that.
Oh.
I hate the fact of thinking I'm going to lose my dog. So I turned into like the 6-year-old boy that always would cry and never want to leave their dog. That's me now, because I never experienced that when I was a kid.
All right, we're going to jump this. I know it's a stretch. I know this is but it's a question I want to ask you.
Yes, bring it.
And I think it's a question which, is it moral, ethical? It lands in a weird space. All righty. It's not nostalgic. It's very current. What are your thoughts on cloning dogs? Because people have so you never lose your dog because you can I don't know how they do it.
I wouldn't do it.
Are they exactly the same?
And that's the thing. I want to remember my dog for how my dog was. You know what I mean?
Like as in, so can they take Kaisita, DNA or whatever they take, put it into Kaisita too? How Kaiser operates now?
That's what I don't get. Is that dog Kaiser 2.0?
Or is it Kaiser?
Is she gonna pee every time you go up and look at her and want to pet her? Like, is it gonna be the exact same dog, or is it looks exactly like it?
Yeah,
and it behaves a little bit differently. Like, I don't know. They clone mice, like they've done that successfully, right?
No. I think they've done pets. I think they're there.
Oh, so it's a legit.
All right, this is
Google.
We don't do this often, but I'm Googling it.
I mean, if they did, kudos to them. That's impressive if they were able to do that. But I'm not buying it. It's the exact same.
Yes, pet cloning is possible, but it's a complex and expensive process.
I bet.
Yeah, of course. We would prefer a trip to Japan or Patagonia. The first successful pet clone was Snuppy an Afghan hound in 2005. While cloning is possible, it's not a perfect replica. There are ethical considerations to consider.
Talk ethical. What ethical? Does it give you a list?
So the ethical concerns around the welfare of surrogate mothers, the potential for disappointment, the impact on adoption rates for animals in need.
I don't know what to say about that. So it's not going to be an exact clone.
I think it answers that question for sure.
Yeah.
But I also don't. I have it now. I don't. We are covering. I don't even. I hope you're enjoying this episode.
But what's funny is this is like how we just. You guys are getting a real like no structure. Let's just.
We're just throwing a microphone in between two Dans.
It's just Dan's talking.
Yeah,
is really what it is.
Dan, I have heard though in talking about this cloning topic that obviously if they've done it in mice, they've done it in pets, they can do it. It's expensive and all the rest, and it will likely be a thing of in the very near future will get cheaper and cheaper and people will just do it.
Yeah.
You know, I've heard though that they have or are or they just there is such an ethical and moral decision within scientific thought you can't do it to humans, but it's not too far of a leap if you're doing it with all of these animals to then do it to humans. And that in the pit of my stomach is just like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that.
It's
does that like that evokes something in me?
No, for sure, because then I would have a lot more questions about life if that's the case. Like
we can't. Surely they can't.
There's no way. How many souls do you have?
Exactly. Like, and that's where from a spiritual. So Kaiser has a character,
right?
Like I'm not saying spirit, please, but like. There are nuances of lived experience that pets have and an animal has. So do you know what it's like when you get like an adopted pet and how it's been treated then affects who it is when you adopt it? Do you know? And the same thing with like not the same thing, but within humans, we have a spirit, a soul. And that's not so you might replicate a skin tissue and bones.
I think you're on. You can replicate certain things, but at the end of the day, there's no way it will ever be possible. I'm calling it right now.
No, like it won't. And there's like people then get so they fantasize over, but what ifs? For me, it's not worth the brain. Clearly, we haven't researched it at all.
Watch, we are so far up, and there's been like 3 humans that have been cloned.
I was, and this is how far off I was. We were talking about it in the car with Clis and Hugo, my 14-year-old and 12-year-old, about. I thought they've done teleportation. They haven't. I got cloning and teleportation mixed up.
We just talked about this last week in the car.
So gracious that my kids weren't Googling and fact checking because I was speaking with such authority, like just a dad authority. Like when a Dan and a dad speaks, you're just like, well, it just is.
It's fact.
And then I did a sneaky little research myself and went, oh man. I think from childhood memories through to modern cloning, what an episode. But I think if we were to look back on it, and here is something, I always love giving a little just piece of meat to chew on. Ooh, in reference to, I don't think that's probably applicable with the amount of pets we're talking about and that. So,
piece of cloth.
Just I want a piece of cloth here just to chew on and marinate on is, and I've heard of a softening of culture and society based around playgrounds. And here's the evidence, and you'll love this one. I think I've shared it with you before, not on the podcast. They've done a study, and it was a number of years ago in some Eastern European country, and they studied this playground, and it was not safe. It was an unsafe playground, and it had, rather than soft fill, so rather than like a cushion or bark chips, it was actually just a hard concrete
Rocks.
and big metal pole structures, and all these objects and heights and things like that, which we would deem unsafe for certain ages of kids. And the study was, okay, adults weren't allowed in the playground, so only children were allowed to play. And what they learned is, automatically, intrinsically, the older kids assumed the role of leader in that space. There was no adult, no parent whatsoever. And straight away, the oldest kid or the older kids then made sure the younger kids, no, that's too high for you, buddy. No, don't go on that one. And no one got hurt.
Yeah.
And I look at that and I go, isn't that interesting? Now with modern parenting, helicopter parenting, we have to observe and see and protect and all these, we can go way overboard.
Yeah.
And actually sometimes just trust that, no, there is a care nature just inbuilt in us. Kids in a playground can look after themselves. And that idea of it. Now, I know you've got 1,000 responses. Like, I know that you keyboard warriors would go to town on it, I'm not letting my child ever outside of my house, like, do you know, I know
have you watched the news?
I know it's a scary world, but like, that gives me hope.
100%. And again, we're not saying throw your kids in fire.
No.
Please.
No. But what we are saying is, like,
let them be kids, and they understand, okay, danger, safety. Kids understand that a lot more than what we think they do.
Totally.
I mean, we've found a couple forks in the microwave, but beyond that, kids are safe.
Well, my sister babysat some kids who were children of a dentist, and the poor kids, they weren't allowed to ride a bicycle unless they had a full head helmet on, because their teeth, they might hurt their teeth.
I wouldn't ride a bicycle. I would just say, I don't know how to ride a bicycle.
I don't think the kids ever rode bikes.
They're 17 years old, senior in high school, rolling up to school on a bicycle.
Just a motocross, just helmet on a deadly treadly.
They arrive, they take off the helmet, mouth guard comes popped out. I mean,
drool coming down. So there you have it. This Danisode, we've covered nostalgia, childhood games. What game did you play? Let us know. We want to know. What was your favorite video game? Was it what was your experience? Have you recently played an old school game and realized, maybe not as fun as what I thought it was?
It was fun when I was 6, but now that I'm 38, nah.
Thanks for listening.
We'll see you later. I don't know why I said that like it's a news.
That's great.
We'll see you later.